Practice 1 was pretty average. Glad we don't play this week. We get practice 2 on Thursday. So that's good. Good to get on the grass. So good to start officially with practice and seeing our guys kind of get in the rhythm and routines of the flow of transitions and how we do things. But all in all, good day.
In the team thing at the end, Thompson didn't take any snaps. Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, he's coming off of a foot deal. He so in the off season, what was going through the off season conditioning drills, and really dominating. Like he was doing a lot of movement stuff really well, and he had a couple. It was an injury that looks like after the imaging, probably showed up here with that he just was never fully aware of. Kind of bit his tongue and kept fighting through it, and then felt like it was the best thing to get it addressed a couple weeks ago.
He had surgery?
Just a little fix, yeah. I'm not a doctor. He had something done, yeah. It was
Procedure.
a procedure, yeah. I mean, I don't know how intense it wasn't. It's something that I think we thought he could be in a boot this week. He got to throw with some very static base stuff without really taking a drop. We're not comfortable with him being 11-on-11 period probably till next week, I would guess. Saturday at the earliest, but next week probably. But he'll be back. He's fine. I mean, it's nothing that he's done wrong. It's just a little procedure he had to have, and we thought much better now. We really had two choices: get it fixed now, and feel like in a couple weeks, green light, nothing really to worry about. And the medical folks thought that would be the way to have a long-term better comfort with his recovery. Or we could have said, hey, no surgery, no procedure, whatever it was, and just push it and see what happens. But then you run the risk of like, okay, what happens if something goes wrong in 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're having to deal with something that's more serious. So we got it taken care of and fixed now, so that hopefully he'll be fine for the long haul.
Left or right, Coach? Left or right foot?
Golly, that's a good question. It's
Yes.
one of them, yeah, yeah. Right foot.
Right foot. And that was discovered in an MRI. He was feeling sore and
Yeah, so we were going through our off-season conditioning stuff. He planted
okay.
a few times one day and just kind of didn't feel right.
Okay.
When he came to our medical folks and said he was in a little bit of discomfort, he at that point we asked him some questions. He said he had felt that way before in the past. He had that same issue come up previously last fall and never really even spoke up about it, just kind of fought through it. And then we said, hey, we need to go get this looked at closer, and did. And good thing it's March, not August, but because we were able to get ahead of it, I think at worst when we come back from spring break, practice 6, he'll be like 2 thumbs up, full go. I think next week he'll probably be closer to like normal. We were worried he was going to have to like be in a boot some this week. He was out there in tennis shoes, not cleats, because the platform piece didn't want him to get stuck in the ground as much, but he was throwing a ball, went through some of the early stuff. I don't know when you guys got here or didn't, but he went through some of the early stuff and threw some live ball stuff for a little while, just not 11-on-11.
There's a school of thought, 7-on-7, he can just sit there and throw it compared to.
Yeah, you don't want to rush around a guy that's got a lower body deal. So like 7-on-7 is pretty controlled, no rush. So felt like he's good to go in those scenarios. 1-on-1, 7-on-7, half line pass. He took a lot of reps in those periods. 11-on-11 team, like I said earlier, this will be Saturday. My guess probably next week.
Yeah, we'll give you one more very good question. Is it like, in the heel, ball to the foot?
No, it's more like outside, I think, 5th metatarsal-ish. Clearly, I'm not a doctor. But it was not heel. It wasn't ball. I think it was more like in between, like a bone kind of deal in there.
Well, how do you evaluate right now? I mean, obviously, you've seen some of these guys conditioning, things like that, but now you're, getting to do 11-on-11, getting to do some other things out there. What is it that you look for through these 15 practices as opposed to other times of once you've been in place?
Yeah, I think, you want to see guys compete. Some guys make plays, some guys don't. You got to make plays. So you want to see individuals develop and grow in their roles and compete. We talk a lot about competing with each other, not competing against each other. We all play for the same team. We all play for Tulane. And so competing with each other is big. individual player development, and then team development within the schemes and systems we're doing, guys getting more comfortable. And then the last piece I would say is, this is really what I harped on at the end of practice, is we've got to develop our leadership. We are a really, not a very proven group. Now, obviously a lot of momentum off the last 2 years, but I think 15 starters that started game one last year aren't on this team right now. And so there's a lot of guys that it's a very young, new group trying to figure out what does 2024's team look like. And so we talk a lot about who are the leaders and then who are the emerging leaders. This team has maybe less of the proven guy that was on last year's team. You think about Mackay is one. You think about, really when you look at the offensive line right now, Rimitich, Shadre, those guys are veteran, if you will, compared to the rest of the room. And then Vinny is like sort of the old statesman, but Vinny's new, just got here. And so there's a lot of guys that aren't proven. So it's trying to get leadership within the roster to who's going to step up. Good teams can be coach-led. Great teams have to be player-led. There's no great team out there that's all coaches leading it. Players got to lead.
Kai Horton is someone that got 2 starts last year.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him, and maybe what's impressed you since you've been on campus with him?
Yeah, I think when you're in the role he was in, occasionally your growth can, I don't want to say be stunted, but it's kind of like, all right, I'm not really going to be the guy probably unless something goes sideways here, right? And so I think for a while he was just kind of in the backup role, and now he's in a role where he's very openly more in a competition to try to win a job. And so I think he's come back, with the right mindset, a great attitude. When I got here, he was in the transfer portal, and understandably so. I mean, the uncertainty of what all is going on when there's a change. But he has been a really hard worker, a great leader. I think he's done a good job with the guys, getting the skill guys around. And he's done a nice job with Ty. While they're competing for a job, they've done a nice job of being each other's brother and teammate. And I think that's an important deal for those guys to. But I think he's doing well. He's got a good arm, man. I noticed that in bowl prep. Like I'm watching bowl prep, and I'm like, okay, the ball comes out quick and clean and crisp, and the arm talent's there. I think he's probably a touch better athlete than probably given credit for. I don't think anybody's going to confuse him with Michael Vick, but he's not a bad athlete. He's a good athlete. He's a good mover in the pocket, and he can extend a little. So I'm excited about where he's at and where he's going.
Would you say it's a two-man competition between Kai and Ty for the starting job? And ultimately, when you decide whoever the starting quarterback is, what do you want to see before deciding who will trot out as a QB1?
No, I mean, it's a three-man job right now. Darian Mensah can win the job too. Like, I'm not – his practice won a spring ball March 12th. You know what I mean? Like, so if we go through 15 spring practices and the best guy each day for 15 straight days is Darian Mensah, he'll be the starter. Like, I'm not already narrowing down to 2 guys. One of the beautiful things about being new is everybody gets a clean slate. And so there's a lot of opportunity for all. And then what do you want to see? I mean, you want to see a guy that can execute and run the offense efficiently, a guy that can make the throws, and then a guy that will lead. The intangibles part, like a guy walks in the huddle and people believe in him. I think that's one of the beautiful things about Mike Pratt last year is I think, guys believed in him and he had that presence about him. So you're just looking for a guy that can lead in that manner.
The culture of this program has changed dramatically the last few years. This is a double-digit win program now. People expect. I'm sure it's one of the reasons you came here. You've been around town for a couple months. You talk to people. When they ask you about your team and what the expectations are in year one, what's your answer to these to the fans and the people in the community?
Yeah, I mean, the expectations for me is just to be your best every day and try to win every game you play. I don't put a ceiling or a floor on like what's our expectation. I've shared this with y'all. I got a 10-year-old son. When I play him and pick up basketball, he loses. Like, I want to win every time I do something. So I'm not saying we're going to win every game, but our expectation is to compete to win every game. And I think the standard here has been elevated. I invite that and welcome that. It's something that did attract me to come here. You know, I like winning. I like being successful. I think our guys do too. We have a long way to go. Like we do. Like I'm excited about where we can go. This team's got good length. It's got good athleticism. It is very, very young. And so I think this team can be really good. But there's a lot of maturity and development that has to come really fast for us to become what we want to be.
You'll wait till the fall to name a quarterback, though, right?
Yeah, I would suspect so. Yeah, and you know I'm not going to put a date on it, but yeah, I mean I think you're trying to get the right amount of sample size of information to be able to make an educated decision. With Ty's limitations his first week, I think that even delays it a little bit more in regards to pressing the gas. When you know, and like when you fully know, I won't delay that. I'm not gonna. There is a balance. I think you can press it and try to make too fast of a decision. I also think if you know, you gotta roll with it. And then I think in college football, you've seen sometimes the last few years people go into the season and give both guys the shot for a little while and see how it goes. I'm not saying we're gonna do that either. I don't know yet. So.
Are you comfortable with that as a coach, too?
I'm gonna do whatever I think's in the best interest of our team and those guys. And somebody earns it and they put their stamp on, I'm the guy to start the year. Good. If they don't, then we'll see how that goes.
The speed at receiver is pretty noticeable.
Yeah.
There. How much? I mean, obviously that was a conscious effort there. You watched the bowl practices
Yeah.
last year, stuff like that. But how good do you feel about that?
I feel really good about it. I tell you, I think you hit the nail on the head when I was watching bowl practice and our top three receivers from the regular season weren't in the bowl game. I was kind of like, okay, we got some work to do here. A lot of good work was done in recruiting some guys. I also think there's some guys here that maybe haven't had their opportunity, and so there's some guys in the room that I think that are ready to step up. I think Yul Keith is one of those guys. I think he's got a chance to make a significant impact on this team. I'll tell you who I think's got a chance to help our team that I'm excited about is Mamahat, like local guy. He fires me up watching him. You know, he came here as a quarterback. We got moved to receiver, and man, he can roll. Like he's got real speed. He's smart. He's tough. And I'm not trying to like take away from the marquee names of Mario Williams and those other guys, but I'm fired about some guys like that. That if you've got that kind of depth where you can call on a guy like that to come in a game and make some plays at certain times, that's when you have a chance to be really good. But I do think the speed is there. And I thought we played the ball okay at times today in the air. We got to, on the outside, I think we got to go attack the ball a little better. I thought in the slot we played the ball well and we're fast once we got the ball in our hand. On the perimeter, I felt like outside we got to go win some 50-50s a little bit more today.
You touched on Mario Williams, but both him and Chaz Preston, initial good thoughts about them or thoughts in general with practice today and how they may have played?
Yeah. Mario has got confidence because he's been a highly productive player at the college level already. And you do see his speed. I mean, it jumps out, and he's a playmaker. And I think what I like most about Mario is he's a competitor. You know, we did our off-season conditioning drills. Mario, he wasn't looking for a way out. He was looking for a way to, like, in his one-on-one matchup that day, win every rep. And so I think that bodes well for what he could become here. And then Shaz, a little bit different. You know, obviously was at a big-time program in Alabama. Shaz didn't have a whole lot of production there, but you see he's got really good ball skills and strong hands. He's a physically, a good-sized guy. I think detail in his routes is still coming, but I think maybe opposite of Mario, where Mario's got a ridiculous amount of confidence because of the amount of football he's played. Trying to get Shaz to understand, hey man, you're a highly ranked guy for a reason. Let's go. Like, you're gonna be fine. You got this. And I think he can, but just getting that confidence built so he's comfortable in what he's doing.
Can I ask about the kicker situation? Is there a chance in the late portal period that you might add there, or what are you going to do there?
Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah, obviously don't know that our kicking situation's resolved or in the right spot yet. I'm not saying it's not either, but we'll go through spring with what we've got right now, and then because of the late portal window, you are able to potentially add if needed. So that's something we're going to go through the spring with what we got, and then look at maybe where we are post spring, what's out there post spring. If you're going to go scholarship a guy to bring him in to kick, you want to know that kind of what you're getting. You don't want to, bet. You want to know. And so we'll see what's available. In the winter window, there really wasn't anything available from a scholarship-proven guy that we felt like was the right fit. So that's something we may have to address. Don't know yet.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Coach.
y'all. Appreciate